welcome to ISTV English News. I'm Gabby Goldmay with the news today. First, the top story. Expansion work of Tidim Road unlikely to be completed before Sangay Festival this year. Now the news in detail. Even though Chief Minister Okram Ibobi has repeatedly inspected the progress of the work for expansion of the Tidim Road and issued stern warnings to the officials and contractors concerned to complete the work as fast as possible, it is most unlikely that the work can be completed before the upcoming Sangay Festival, which will be held sometime in November this year. Our joint editor Takelambam Sunil Kumar and cameraman Jiban reported that the undergoing expansion work has not been taken up under a particular program and that not a single rupee has been sanctioned so far, giving rise to the doubt that the work cannot be completed before the Sangay Festival. Though the Chief Minister had given firm instructions during an inspection visit on August 8 to the engineers, officials and contractor concerned to speed up the work, to the contraries of people's high expectations, not much progress has been made in the expansion work. On the other hand, according to reports received by the ISTV News, the work is not executed under a particular official program. The government just told some contractors to do the work, and thus the contractors took up the work in the interest of the people. To develop Tidim Road into a 6-lane road is not an easy task. First, just blacktopping the road from Kesampat to Kwakaitel will take up to May 2015. The estimated cost will be around 15 crore rupees, the source said. If the work goes up to Malom, the cost would rise to about 50 crore rupees. The reports garnered by the ISTV News clearly point out that unless the state government pays special attention to the expansion work in order to complete the task before the upcoming Sangay Festival and releases adequate funds soon to all concerned as per strict rules and visual, not just verbally instructing the concerned to speed up the work, to grand plan of the Chief Minister to expand and beautify the so-called VIP road cannot be realized in time. A man identified as Namresang Ningshen, about 39 years old, kidnapped by some unknown armed persons on the night of Wednesday last, was found dead this morning. The corpse was reportedly found at a place between Lainangching and Thiam under Lamlai police station. Reports received from his fellow villagers stated that Namresang Ningsen was abducted by some persons who claimed themselves to be the cadres of Manipur Naga People's Front (MNPF). Ningsen was former vice president of Tangkul Katamnao Saklong. Police have rushed to the site to pick up the body. More details are awaited. The 3-day 5th Hatay Panit Chilies Festival has kicked off at Sirarakong in Ukhrul district from yesterday. The festival was inaugurated by K.H. Nimaicharan, father of K.H. Ratan Kumar, in charge of Horticulture Mission, Northeastern Himalayan region. K.H. Nimaicharan was formerly a teacher of a school at Sirarakong. Hatay house constructed by K.H. Ratan Kumar with money from his own pocket was also inaugurated by his father yesterday. In connection with the occasion, K.H. Nimaicharan said, when he was a teacher at Sirarakong, he had realized the amazing quality of the chilies of Sirarakong. He wished that the chilies were produced more and the whole world would come to know of it. General Secretary of Sirarakong Hatay Promotion Committee, Tamsin Piwanglen, said all 250 families inhabiting the village grow chilies and earn about 40,000 to 50,000 rupees every year. This is nature's gift to the denizens of the area. The villagers can now produce more quantity with the invaluable help of the Director of Horticulture, K.S. Ratan Kumar, the General Secretary said.
Every household na thagne aduga si yon pham le de bagi akhoi na festival si dovne aduga hathe sina akhoi ki main source of income dova backbone akhoi ki backbone income ki ko akhoi ki village sida loina mak mi ayambana di low kumba urka agriculture sina akhoi ki kram na higine living do.
Now let's have a look at the national and international news. The patriotism of Indian Muslims cannot be questioned, asserted Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his first ever international interview since assuming office. Indian Muslims will live for India and die for India. Al-Qaeda's delusional to think Indian Muslims will dance to its tunes, Modi told a news channel. Modi, whose historic U.S. visit is scheduled for later in September, stressed on the ties shared by the two countries. He said that there are similarities between India and U.S. given their histories and cultures. Modi, however, accepted that there has been several ups and downs in the Indo-US relations in the past. However, he was confident that the ties have taken a new shape in the 21st century. I am confident that India and US can develop genuine strategic alliance, he said. He added the Indo-US ties should not be seen within the limits of Delhi and Washington. Both the countries realize that their ties are in a much larger sphere. In the game of brinksmanship that the partners of 25 years are playing over seat sharing for the Maharashtra elections, the Shiv Sena this morning sought to explain how it views its relationship with the BJP. In Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena is a party that gives, not a party that takes. We are not asking, we are giving. They should think about what they are asking, said party lawmaker Sanjay Raut, making clear that Sena Chief Uddhav Thackeray would take a decision on seat sharing and that he would not be pushed into doing so. The tough words were in response to the BJP setting a 12-hour deadline for the Sena to get back on its offer that it would contest at least 130 seats in the 288-member Maharashtra Assembly. The BJP says it will wait till this evening for the Sena to revert before deciding to contest next month's elections on its own. Sources in the Maharashtra BJP today said that the party will not make any more efforts to reach out. Narendra Modi posters have sprung up all over Mumbai as the party preps to go back to what it believes is its safest bet, a campaign built around the Prime Minister and his development agenda. Mr. Modi is said to believe that the party can contest next month's elections on its own. The floods that wreaked havoc in Jammu and Kashmir for over 10 days, turning out to be the worst ever flood of the century, claimed 277 lives, said Chief Minister Omar Abdullah today. The death toll in Jammu region reportedly is above 210, while in Kashmir Valley over 54 died in the calamity. Jammu and Kashmir was hit by the worst ever flood since 1892, wreaking havoc in several districts on either side of the Pir Panjal mountain range. Public infrastructure like bridges, roads and government buildings worth several thousand crore has been destroyed by the floods, while the damage to private property, including crops like apple and paddy, is estimated to be several times higher. A lawmaker in Madhya Pradesh finds himself in an embarrassing spot after being caught on camera wiping his hands on a former parliamentarian's sari at a public event on Wednesday. Independent legislator Dinesh Rai was on stage at the function in Seoni when he was seen surreptitiously wiping his hands on the sari of former BJP MP Nita Pateria, who was apparently oblivious to it. Mr. Rai had soiled his hands with oil during the lamp lighting ceremony for the launch of a crops insurance scheme for farmers. After wiping his hands, the 44-year-old lawmaker appears to make light of it, and some in the audience laugh. It was when the footage exploded on local channels that a worried Mr. Rai reportedly called Ms. Pateria twice and apologized, claiming that it was a prank. She says she has left it to her party, the state's ruling BJP, to decide on legal action. The two leaders have been rivals during polls. Ms. Pateria had defeated Mr. Rai in the 2008 state elections. Buoyed by his visit to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state, Gujarat, Chinese President Xi Jinping, in a reciprocal gesture, invited him to his hometown Xi'an, where the famous Buddhist monk Xuanzang spent his last years after his return from India some 2,000 years ago. Xi invited Modi on Wednesday to visit his hometown Xi'an, the famous tourist town, which showcases of terracotta warriors. Xi said the 7th century Chinese monk stayed in India for 16 years to seek Buddhist scriptures. When he came back to China, he stayed in my hometown, Xi'an, to translate and spread Buddhist thoughts to Chinese people, official media quoted Xi as saying. According to historical records, Xuanzang, also known as Xuanzang, started his travels at the age of 28 in 629 AD. And recorded his travels in Gujarat, where he describes towns and cities like Baruk, Malwa, Idar and Balabhi. Modi earlier said that the monk also stayed in his hometown Vadodara. Scotland spurned independence in a historic referendum that threatened to rip the United Kingdom apart, saw financial turmoil and diminished Britain's remaining global clout. A vote for the 307-year union is a relief for millions of Britons, including Prime Minister David Cameron, whose job was on the line, as well as allies across the world who were horrified at the prospect of the United Kingdom's separation. With 31 of 32 constituencies declared, Unionists had won 55% of the vote, while separatists were on 45%. Unionists cheered, kissed and drank wine at the party at Glasgow, while nationalist leader Alex Salmond conceded defeat in front of an image of a giant white-on-blue Scottish flag in Edinburgh. Salmond laced his defeat with a warning to British politicians in London that they must respect their last-minute promise of more powers for Scotland. President Barack Obama has nominated Indian-American Richard Rahul Verma as the next U.S. ambassador to India ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Washington later this month. If confirmed by the Senate, Mr. Verma, who earlier served as the Assistant Secretary of State for Legislative Affairs and is now in the private sector, would be the first Indian American to serve as a top U.S. diplomat in New Delhi. Obama announced his nomination late yesterday, along with several other key administration appointments. With just a day to go before the start of the 2014 Asian Games in the South Korean city of Incheon, India seek a record medal haul despite a chaotic build-up, including the slashing of the contingent and last-minute pull-out of top athletes. In a cost-saving measure, the Indian government had pruned the contingent for the Asian Games by nearly a third to 679 from 942 that was proposed by the Indian Olympic Association. Thus now 516 athletes and 163 coaches and support staff are part of the touring party. India will be participating in a total of 28 disciplines as against 35 last time. Before we end, a quick recap on the top story. Expansion work of Tidim Road unlikely to be completed before Sangay Festival this year. That's all we have for now, but stay tuned because we'll be back with more updates. Thank you.